So yeah, one of my friends asked me recently if they thought, or if I thought that the Kool-Aid Man was the pitcher or the liquid. What do you think?
Yeah, bro, he's definitely the pitcher.
He's the pitcher?
He's 100%.
I said he was the pitcher too. You guys can figure out what you think, but I think it's the pitcher.
Yeah.
Because the actual face of the Kool-Aid Man is on the pitcher.
Exactly.
And if there's no Kool-Aid in there, then there's no Kool-Aid Man.
Yeah.
So,
and also, like, I think Family Guy has confused the logic because in the one episode where Stewie and Brian go back in time, spoiler alert, they meet the Kool-Aid Man standing outside for the episode where he bursts through the wall during like Peter's court trial, and he's waiting, and he's like, hey man, like, can I? Is that like you in there? And he goes, what do you mean? And then when he busts through the wall, he falls backwards and breaks, but they put the face on the puddle of Kool-Aid. So people would think that he's the liquid.
I don't. She said that the Kool-Aid was the actual liquid, and I'm sitting there that no, there's no Kool-Aid Man without the liquid being held.
Maybe that's all a metaphor for drinking the Kool-Aid.
That's true. It's true.
Oh, that just hit me. That kind of just hit me just then.
You guys ready to drink some Open to Everything Kool-Aid? Hey, welcome back. This is the first opener of season 2 to Open to Everything. We've got on my buddy Kadar. Super cool guy. We're going to talk about the power of storytelling. As you can see, we just opened up with a story, and he's got a lot of cool things in the mix. When I first met him, he had told me that he's pitching something to HBO. Is that what you're doing?
Yeah, as soon as I'm working on the pilot right now.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be interesting. I'm not gonna tell you niggas because people like to steal ideas.
That's true.
But they're trustworthy, right? Something about them.
So that's kind of funny. We did season 1. I started off with 2 listeners. Now I have 196. I don't even know who half of you guys are probably, but that's all good. This is why you keep coming back. You're learning some stuff. I wanted to reiterate what all of this is about. Open to Everything is a platform that basically brings out creativity, curiosity in life, overcomings, perseverances, and basically I wanted to start off with Kadar because he's such a powerful creative that, the power of storytelling, it's the story that we tell ourselves, about ourselves. It's the story that we listen to about, from social media, what our parents tell us. All these, I think life is just full of stories that we deem valid or we deem invalid that shape our reality and our construct.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, I wouldn't disagree. Like, storytelling, is at the root of basically all civilization. Motherfuckers are gathered around a fire, and then even the folk tales, mythology, all that just stems from storytelling, and as much as I feel like it's also a way to convey history, truthfully,
right,
or maybe as a metaphor, it's also a way to keep the past present, which is an interesting paradox because we so fear death that we seek to immortalize ourselves in stories, and that's super crazy. Like, I believe in it 100%. Like, the only way to attain true immortality in any sense is, are you still being remembered 100, 200, 300, 1,000 years later? You talk about some of the most influential people in history, and it's a very hot take, but I will never back down when I say that you've got to put a Hitler on that list. Like, as he was an evil motherfucker, crazy as hell, but without the rise of the Third Reich, you wouldn't have any of the advancements in medical technology, military technology, even just basic things. Like, yes, it was horrible. That was a horrible event, but I mean, it gave rise to the UN. Like, the UN theoretically might not have ever happened if all these countries hadn't come together and been like, oh shit, we gotta get this man.
We gotta get this asshole.
And so, yes, don't get me wrong. I'm not glorifying this guy at all. He's an evil, evil motherfucker. But, you could say it's the same thing as separating the art from the artist. You know, like
Yeah, that's interesting to think. I've never really considered that, but yeah, even the idea of what he told his people,
yeah,
right? They were convinced by this story. Could have
Yeah.
been false, could have been true.
that's the power of a story.
Yeah,
You know, and like you know, you have to attribute it to also to a person's charisma, but you know, like even that, like if you think about it, he had to stand on a box in order to be as tall as he appeared on that pedestal. There's a filmmaker, the dude who made what I can't remember the name of the propaganda film that the Third Reich put out, but I think he shot for 100 hours. But he's the dude who created the shot where they're panning up from the ground to give someone the illusion of being taller.
Yeah.
He created the Tom Cruise shot. Like,
Yeah.
like crazy innovations. But look at the catastrophe.
Wow.
Like, so
Yeah.
it's, you know, it's give and take, but that's the law of equivalent exchange, you know?
Well, and I'm really excited to have him on because we have some kind of idea of where we're going with this, but every time he says something, I just think of something new to ask. But yeah, no, the power of illusion to perceive then that story, or vice versa, the perception of the story to then give the illusion to, again, what is real and what's not. I mean, we're surrounded by all these stories on social media and the news, and
now it's about control of the narrative. That's like the Bible's been retranslated so many times, rewritten for different kings and different popes, and like, so, you know, that is a perfect illustration of the power of storytelling. You know, if you're religious and you believe in God and everything like that, then, you know, that's great, but it's a means of control over a population. It's another set of indoctrinations. Like, that's all it is. Like, why were they confiscating other people's written word? So they could control the narrative of the story throughout time.
Yeah.
Like, that's all it is.
I heard this off of Joe Rogan, so I'm not saying this out loud. I guess I am saying it out loud, but the acacia tree, is that what it's called? The burning bush?
Acacia, yeah.
Yeah. Apparently that was full of DMT, and DMT is the most psychoactive substance known to man.
Yeah.
So when Moses wrote the first 5 books in the Old Testament, could be that he was just hallucinating his ass off.
Yeah. But once again, you have no other historical record to compare to. And the ones that exist, if they do exist, are definitely hidden the fuck away somewhere.
Yeah.
Because it disrupts the narrative.
Wow.
Crazy.
Man. Well, another thing, again, the biggest topic is, again, just the idea of the story that we tell ourselves about ourselves. I think that some people, if you can seemingly tell that, I guess, insinuate that they're happy or sad, it's probably because of the story that they told themselves, or they tell themselves every single day.
Yeah.
And I read a book called The Slight Edge, really good book, and I'm going to try and summarize it, but through time, the x-axis, it's inevitable. It doesn't go up or down, it's just time. But you, as an individual, are either going up the time curve, bettering yourself, or going down the time curve, complaining about your job, your spouse.
Makes perfect sense.
Basically hating your life every single day. Well, we have about 60,000 thoughts a day. I hear that 90% of them don't really matter. They're an illusion.
Yeah.
But what if they are your reality based on the story that you tell yourself about it? Like, I hate my life over and over and over again for 10 years.
Perception is reality.
Yeah.
You know, like, and that's where it gets super fucking meta.
We use the word heady in the hippie world.
Meta. Man. Yeah. It's super meta right there, because, like, you know, if perception is reality, then you have to think about, you know, people being classified as clinically insane. Maybe their perception of the world just doesn't fit in with the group consciousness that's been created from society following a certain set of rules and creating a perceived reality.
Mm-hmm.
And it sounds super crazy to say that, super fringe, but like, and that's just another way of looking at it. You know, maybe, you know, mental illness is real, you know, that's a given, but, you know, you have to, you can't even picture the reality that they're perceiving,
right? Because
you can't, you literally can't be there.
Yeah.
And so, you know, that's once again, come back to the power of storytelling. talking about Hitler creating this mass of people that believed in this vision. You know, what story are you telling yourself to believe this? Like, you know, like what in your life is going on that you can project, you know, this massive hate, you know, and feel good about it.
Right.
And feel entitled to it, you know, like, you know, it's very much a story you tell yourself. There's something going on in your day-to-day. You're impoverished, you're malnourished, you're sick, your father's dying, your mother's dying, there's something going on. You got back taxes out the ass, like, you know, like, I truly believe pain is a part of the story that we always tell ourselves. Our personal trauma is a part of the story we tell ourselves, and how you let it affect you or how you steer that narrative can change everything about your life, you know. Coming from my personal past, you know, the part of the reason why I ended up here was, you know, now I don't believe in coincidences. You know, everything lines up for a reason. And I truly believe I was going to be dead or in jail, you know, by 24, 25. And a good friend of mine, shout out Billy, we've been friends since like kindergarten, and he had come back to Colorado one weekend, and he's like, man, come back to Arkansas, sorry, one weekend, and he's like, man, just come out with me for a week, you know, you can always go back if you're not feeling it. And I was like, all right, cool. I never left. You know, and part of that was, you know, getting myself out of the environment and the place I had kind of put myself into, you know, and like the story that I was telling myself was different than what really truly resonated with me. And, you know, I've never really been happier in my life. Of course, you know, you get down sometimes like everybody does, but, you know, I'm surrounded by people that have constantly reinforced, you know, my beliefs and do nothing but support me. And, like, you know, we'll give each other that criticism when it's needed, of course, but, you know, it's a very different thing to become aware of your flaws and where you're trying to steer the narrative in a direction that benefits you versus what's the truth. You know, and when I went back, the first time I went back home, there were people that I apologized to that I made amends with, you know, because I was on some wild shit. It was really bugging, you know, and you know, a lot of them were surprised. And, like, for me, it's like, yo, you know, like, I got through some shit, you know. I dealt with a lot of things that have been personally bothering me that hadn't been sitting right in my spirit, you know, like. So, you know, I felt like I don't owe anybody shit. Because nobody owes me shit. You don't owe anybody shit. I don't owe you a damn thing. Yeah. But, you know, I felt like that apology was needed because I was really on some other type of shit, like doing shit to hurt people, you know, and
unconsciously or unintentionally?
Consciously. Yeah, hell yeah. I don't believe that mankind is predisposed to be good. You know, I don't think our natural inclination is to be humane and care about other people. You know, that, and I personally believe that I am not inherently a good person, but every day I try to subsume those inclinations and those thoughts and like shit like that, and like try to believe that, you know, I can be a better person. You know, I'm not who I used to be. On top of that, like, I got at least 85 years in this bitch. Like, I got a lot of time to
He's gonna look this good at 85 too.
I hope so. Hey, I hope so. I told my old lady the other day, I was like, yeah, I still look this good when I'm 40. I'll be ready for my first divorce and my 20-year-old wife. And that didn't go over well.
That's a story that he's manifesting out into the reality of the world. I kind of going back to what you were just talking about, my last Instagram post, I don't know when I'm posting this now, but it was a recent one of, you know, if you seemingly find yourself judging or hating someone else, you need to check yourself because, again, you have no idea what they're going through. You don't know their traumas, their triggers, maybe you can relate, right, to what you can give some constructive criticism or feedback. Hopefully not overbearingly opinionated and, you know, pushy and make someone feel bad, right? Because, again, I always think that people are good just at their level of consciousness. So when we get older and we start trying to care about other people or just inherently do, you want to believe that someone else is, again, trying their best and they're going to give me the feedback that I'm going to give them or the respect I give them.
And I would love to be able to have that mindset, but I've seen and participated in like what people can do to really get down and hurt a person, you know, and like I took joy in it. Like it was a specialty in my life. I was like that shit like it was great for me, but like at the time, like I look back at it and I'm like, yo, I don't regret anything that I've ever done ever. But I look back and chuckle a little bit and that was a little fucked up.
Yeah. Well, man, I know you're a very smart person and you're consciously aware and you're down to earth. But one of my favorite quotes is, "Everything is always exactly how it's supposed to be." So it's kind of cool that you're like, you know, I don't really regret anything because it's made you into the person that you are.
It's all that here.
You know, it's probably the fact that you have been through all of those scenarios and paths of life that you took. And, you know, this last podcast I did to end season 1 was about creating a life by design, which feeds right into storytelling.
Yeah.
So, again, sometimes I have a hard time even separating dream state from reality. And I know that's a super meta, heady thing to say.
Oh,
but,
no, it's super...
But if I think it, isn't that a reality? I don't have to act on it. I don't have to believe it. But
so,
that dream, that reality, whether I see it on TV or one of my friends is in Tulum or whatever the hell the story that I'm interpreting or that I'm telling myself I want to do, why can't that be reality? I mean, a lot of people think that's a dream.
You could argue through quantum theory, it is a reality. Because there's another dimension created for every decision that you don't make. So there's like, if you take a left, there's a version of you that took a right.
Right.
You know, and there's divergent paths from every single one.
Yeah.
And so, you know, that's like, you know, one of a talk I had with a friend of mine was about deja vu, and you know, like, it's the sense that you've been somewhere before, you've seen this before. For me, it happens. It's a lot of dreams for me, but who's not to say that deja vu isn't another version of you dying? Like, is an instance where something happened and went wrong in that moment.
Mm-hmm.
Like, is that danger sense? Because it's always that tingle at the back of the neck, like, something's going wrong right now.
Yeah. So
what happened in that instance somewhere, somewhen else, you know? Like, and that's super meta. And, you know, it's just a theory. Like, I love that kind of explanation upon, like, the possibilities are endless. They really are. Like we haven't even discovered 70% of what's in our oceans, but we're trying to figure out what's going on in space. Motherfucker, we need to figure out what's going on here first.
For sure.
When Godzilla comes out the Mariana Trench, I'm out of this bitch.
Oh man. So if you're telling yourself this story of, again, the poor me mentality, if you're sad for a year over a girl, whatever it is, man, whatever it is, you're missing out on potential opportunities because you took the right path instead of the left path. Man, it's kind of red pill, blue pill. Yeah.
Choice is everything. Like,
yeah.
and you know, some people argue, like, do you believe in, like, there's a divine plan or is there free will? I was like, really, you have to argue the existence of both in the same space. Because divine plan would allow for free will. That's why you're allowed to make the other choice. This is the plan that's put forth for you. Like, I'm not saying, you know, I believe that whatever is out there, like, you're presented with opportunities, you know, and people are like, give me a sign. Nigga, open your eyes.
Yeah. That's true.
like you know, like, I was thinking about, I was either going to go back to Arkansas or move down to Texas. And I was like, man, I'll stay out here for a week and see what happens. 3 days in, I decide to stay. 3 days later, I find a job. Like, I'm hired on the spot. I didn't even leave that job until, like, when the pandemic started. So I worked there for almost 4 years straight.
Wow.
That's the only job I had since I came here. You know,
you opened your eyes and created an opportunity for yourself.
And through that job, I met my manager who manages me for my music, ended up paying for my debut album. Like,
wow.
Shout out my boy Big John Doe.
Big John Doe, getting Kadar on the map soon.
And then through him, met other people that put me on to other bigger opportunities. Like, it's crazy how it's just the flap of a butterfly's wings, man. Like, like everything just lined up perfectly. Like, and like, there's of course been downsides and everything like that, but on the overall, man, I personally feel like my life has been on the up. Like, I'm finally doing what I want to do, and I'm finally, like, I'm not making shit tons of money, but I'm still making enough to live comfortably and within my means, and that's really all you can hope for. Like, the fame would be nice. Like, it wouldn't be terrible, but it's nice to be able to live and be happy.
Yeah. If you guys are still on our wavelength, which, the people that understand, the moral of this whole story, this podcast already, is that you can do whatever the hell you want. You got to open your eyes. You got to be able to be open to certain things that are coming your way. Now, sure, having healthy boundaries is a good thing. Yes. You can't be a yes man.
Yeah.
But, I've even fell victim of this for probably multiple years of my life in different phases, but I'm a recluse when I get upset or sad, and I block everybody off, and it takes hours to respond. And again, that's fine. Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
But
it's protecting your own energy.
There's got to be some kind of power. Hopefully that's what we're giving to you, is we're talking about the future. The past is what it is. It's a part of our story.
Happened. You gotta let that shit go.
But we're still creating the forever story.
Yep.
Every day in the present moment. So right now, if you've been sad for 2 months, burn it. Write something down, burn it. I don't know what you got to do, but man, life is, in my opinion, and the world is, the universe is working for us, not against us.
Yeah.
And that kind of translates into the next idea of manifestation through being a visionary.
Yeah.
I personally think some of the most elite people on earth were visionaries.
Oh, yeah.
They didn't stop. They didn't give a shit who, critiqued them or said they couldn't do this or whatever. Their vision, they kept going and telling themselves a story.
Because eventually I'm going to get it.
Yeah.
Like,
I believe that.
Like, that's like, some people have tried to check me on how I feel about myself. Like, I feel like I'm the best at what I'm doing. Until I meet somebody that is, like, you can show me the numbers that you're better than me, well, okay. Or if I haven't met the person that's better than me, well, guess what? You're not better than me because I haven't met you yet. So, you know what I'm saying? Like, until that point comes,
I think Drake would tell you to sit down.
I don't care. I don't care.
Let's go.
I just feel like, and every interaction that I have builds a better me. Every book that I read, every bit of knowledge that I take in, every new person I meet that's influential to a certain sphere of my mind, like, it continues making me better. And at the end of my life, I'm sure it won't be perfect. I'll be better than a lot of these niggas out here. Like, it's a mindset. Like, in some places it can be toxic. You can't take it too far. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, I realize where my shortcomings are. So guess what? You ain't never gonna see me doing that shit.
Yeah.
But
I love it. I mean, I don't necessarily. I vibe with it 100%. I have a guilty conscience. Sometimes my ego gets in the way, and then my heart's like, you're a douchebag. Or, we were going to talk about imposter syndrome here soon.
Yeah.
It doesn't. I still have conflict with this because now I'm putting myself out to the world to either be judged or hated on or critiqued or supported.
It's the best thing about the internet.
Yeah. Well, it's even, again, the competition or the fact that, hey, I'm gonna test out my limits and see if I can do this.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, wholeheartedly, the punchline to this narrative is I really don't care what people think.
Yeah.
I'm just doing what makes me happy.
Exactly.
And a creative mind, I'm only happy when I'm like building into that vision that I've always had for myself. Yeah. Or again, creating or meeting rad people and having them.
Yeah. And for me, the only downtimes I feel like are when I've stepped off the path that I'm trying to set for myself. Up until recently, I hadn't been writing music for I think it's been 6-7 months. I haven't really written a new song, and it was wasn't there creatively speaking. It was just, you read comments on your shit, and it's just fuck, man, people talking about imposter syndrome, and it's the first time it's ever happened to me. Ever, really. Which is fucking crazy.
Becoming a sweetheart in his older days.
Yeah, softening up in my old age. But, it's that shit's crazy. It blew my mind. It just put me in a place where I felt like I wasn't good at what I chose to do. Like, or am I good enough to even be in this room right now? Like, you know, and it conflicts when, and you know, your friends or people around you that you've met have told you the opposite. Like, you know, like, and so it's like, yo, are these people just coddling me? Like, I hate being fucking coddled. I don't want that shit at all. Just be honest with me. Be like, if you hate it, say you hate it. Like, you know, like.
I truly don't think so. I'm one of those friends.
Yeah.
But we're our biggest critic. Naturally, everybody.
Naturally.
And again, going back to the story that you hear, do you believe 100 friends telling you that you're rad, but you still have these like limiting belief thoughts?
It's those 6 motherfuckers that said your shit's garbage. You're garbage.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, yo, like, you know, and then it takes me back to like my mom when I was growing up would tell me like, you know, if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say it at all. You know?
I agree with that.
And, you know, like, I feel like the culture in which we are raised right now has made it very easy to spew vitriol or hatred. You know, and it's a form of, if I hate them, and there's going to be at least 10 other people that hate them, and then for every other person that hates them, so I'm still on the winning side at the end of the day. It's very much that, honestly, it's that participation trophy mindset. You know, people weren't taught how to lose. You know, granted, I fucking hate losing. Nothing I hate worse than losing. Hate it. But if I lose, I know that I've been beaten. And what does that mean? I need to get better at what I'm doing.
Yeah.
That's all that means. Why are you taking that so personally? There's nothing I want more than to win. And like you know, now my definition of winning, no Charlie Sheen, is definitely changed from what it was before when I was younger. You know, like I wanted to, like, if you're in my way, I'm thrashing you into the ground. Yeah. You know, and now I've, you know, like Bruce Lee says, like, be like water. You know, you don't have to be relentless and violent about the way that you're moving. You know, they start moving mad reckless when they do that shit.
Who gave you some humble pie?
I mean,
I'm just kidding. Look, it was a double-edged sword. Both of us have that, again, high belief system and power. And, you know, I was going to kind of say, like, everything critique-wise, even if it fucks me up for a minute, I appreciate that because I'm actually developing a stronger mindset. Yeah. Like, it's not stopping me from doing what I want to do or becoming the best version of myself always. Yeah. And I think, again, growing older, the more I continue to become humble and creative and whatever, open to everything, I still have that ego from when I was like an all-state soccer player or anybody that got in my way. Like, I probably treated people horribly and don't remember at all. Oh. It was just the fucking ego. Yeah. Like, and probably then I was an imposter.
That's what I'm saying, yeah.
Because I was a little punk ass and I thought I was better than everybody. Now I don't think I'm better than anybody. If I can do anything, I automatically think that you can do it just as good or better. Yeah. Which doesn't break me down. It's when people are the fucking haters and naysayers and unsupportive people.
But now my whole social circle is full of people who, you know, very strongly believe in themselves, and you know, if there's ever a moment where they're feeling like down about it, you know, they're able to do the adult thing and separate themselves from the situation and come back. You know, so you're
emotional intelligence.
Yeah, you know, and that's like the three, like, you know, emotional intelligence and IQ are like, you know, the people try to say like, oh, your IQ's so high. I'm like, well, what about their emotional intelligence? You know, being able to read somebody or read a fucking room or know what's going on. You know, and that ability is not as highly touted as it should be, because that's what it can get you into a room that you're not supposed to be in, that you have no business being in. You know, there's situations where I'm sitting around people and I'm like, how did I get here? Like, I'm way out of my league right now.
Your vibe attracts your tribe. Apparently that's what they say.
Yeah.
But I've also noticed, just in 2021, while trying to change and grow, I seem to continue to attract the same bullshit in my life. And it's almost made me consider the idea of relapse. Like I'm in this infinite loop, and then I've teetered around with the word of masochist. Like, why do I like going back into the infinite loop of persevering through that pain? Yeah. I know that shit's going to hurt me, but
But why not?
I'm gonna be stronger. Why that's kind of like, oh, that's an addictive behavior. Oh, I don't want to do that, but I naturally attract it back, or like.
I think when we get like that too, I think especially it happens, like, for me personally, like, I had a really bad pill problem for a long time. And, now I'm, 7 years without any of that shit.
Yeah.
And, like, I said, it was bad. It was real bad. And I think subjecting yourself, either whether subconsciously or consciously, subjecting yourself to trauma is a way of reliving your addiction phase.
Well, if that's true, then
maybe
that's the answer. Like if you understand that, and
like,
I don't know, maybe you try to avoid it, maybe you don't.
I don't try to avoid it. I don't try to avoid, like, I definitely live in a group of, like, a party culture,
Yeah.
And so I'm no stranger to any of that shit, but friends will offer me whatever, and I'll be like, nah, I'm good. Like, don't get me wrong, like, yeah. In my head, I'm like,
every once in a while,
I'm like, woo, I can do it, baby. Like, when I get, like, I've been 8 years without cigarettes now.
Yeah.
But after a few drinks, my friends go outside, I go outside, and I smell that fresh spark cigarette. I'm like, boy.
Yeah.
It's like my lungs get a hard on.
That's interesting.
but I'll go back inside. Like, I don't even like being around cigarette smoke anymore. But it's just that smell just triggers something. Like, it's true. Like, you don't get rid of it. But how strong is your will gonna be?
Yeah.
I
was about to say, half of it is I want to smell that first spark, and then I'm like, nope. Which you're already overcoming something just by doing that. And man, just even that analogy, it seems like, yeah, you've overcome millions of things.
Yeah, it's been
hundreds of thousands.
It's been an interesting life.
That goes back to, again, overcoming your thoughts. I've truly teetered. I don't even know if I mentioned this earlier, but I truly teeter around the idea of we are not our thoughts.
Yeah.
But I think we are in that moment.
It's a paradox. In
that second. And I don't want to go far extreme, but, like, even if you find yourself being creepy at a bar when you're looking at a girl that you want to go and talk to, you're a fucking creeper right then. Yeah. But maybe you're not, like, at all.
But, like, what do they call, dark thoughts, or something like that. Like, I am very conscious of who I am and the capacity in which I live life. And I am a huge fan of dark humor. But once again, as we all know, as society has become what it is now, it's become very inappropriate.
Sensitively progressive. I don't even know how to describe that.
I'm tiptoeing around it because I know they've got ears everywhere.
Yeah.
And it's become like you can't even say certain things. And there are certain things which just shouldn't be said outside of the privacy of your own home.
Yeah.
But, you can't, like, if you even have the thought, like, you feel guilty for having a thought. I mean, I'll be fucking sitting there giggling to myself, like, right. That shit's fucking funny.
Man, I got a story from last night. I was trying to put on some sleepy time music.
Yeah. Like sleepy time tea?
Yeah. So, put into Spotify, Daydream Sleep. And I clicked the first playlist. And the first 4 songs were Panic at the Disco. I cracked up and called this guy an asshole. Whoever made that. The last thing I want to do is listen to Panic at the Disco while I'm trying to go to sleep. I close
my eyes, you hear dun 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 dun. I'll be like, now imagine this. Yeah.
But that's funny. Like, I'm just by myself, like, with my thoughts. And I want to make my thoughts good and funny. I'm the only one that has to deal with them forever.
Yeah.
The last thing I want to do is relapse back into that poor me mentality.
Yeah.
Again, I've pulled myself out of depression like 4 times.
Yeah.
I don't remember how long they lasted. It was just when I started seeing the light, it was day 1 of believing in myself.
Yeah.
Whatever it is I was doing, day 1, then it was day 2, then, I'm going up that time curve that I talked about earlier.
Yeah.
And it's all about self-control, discipline, belief,
Yeah. I get it. I get depression. I get it. It's hard to fucking wake up and choose to live with. Like, I didn't ask to be here.
Yeah. Right.
I was chilling in the afterlife, minding my business as an unconscious spirit. I'm chilling, chilling, and all of a sudden I gotta pay taxes.
Yeah. There's a meme. It's like a gorilla, and like people are looking at this gorilla, and he's like, I don't know, man. One of my ancestors ate a mushroom. Now you gotta pay taxes, and I'm sitting in this cage.
Like it's crazy. I'm like, yeah, like I get it. It's hard. Like even like to. And, like, I think, especially in the black community particularly, we don't really address mental illness. And so it's even harder for, like, these young black men and women that don't have anyone to talk to. And, and we're just now getting to an era where therapy has been destigmatized. Like, I'm seeing fucking ads on Instagram for, like, it's therapy for men. I'm like, what? What does that mean? Do we, like, fry bacon and, wax our guns? I don't know.
Swipe up.
I'm like, I don't want to swipe up, but okay. I guess I'm a man. And like, it's like, like now it's becoming, they're specifically trying to market therapy for these groups that, why they didn't believe in it, and I do believe therapy is important. If you got some issues, go talk to somebody, even if it's a friend.
Get that shit off your chest.
Get that shit off your chest because it's poison to you.
There's no, again, the supportive people that I try to attract in my life, they would never judge me for going to see someone.
Yeah.
They probably are going to see someone, because you don't want to boggle your friend down with the sad story that you're telling yourself. And I'm victim to it. All friends listening to this, I'm sorry for talking about my exes for so long and how a woman is supposed to give me value or make me believe in myself or comfort me or whatever.
It's just like I think it's like, and once again comes back to the story we tell ourselves where you're seeking it, you're creating this narrative and reinforcing it through actions, know, and who's not to say that some people, and this was something that I read a long time ago, like, are subconsciously self-destructive when it comes to a relationship because it's about chasing that high. Like, you enter the relationship, you have that honeymoon phase where everything's just sunshine and flowers and unicorns fart rainbows, and then then you have that rough time period, and then you either resolve it or you don't, and the relationship dissolves, and usually you go right into the next one. There's a little cool down period. Like you just use your special ability on a video game. Like 60 days cool down period, and then you're right back into the next one. It's subconscious self-destructive behavior, and I really think, because I definitely went through that shit myself, it's like the animal part of the human brain. It's the chase, but also it's the part of you that's trying to mask things that you don't feel willing to resolve, whether it be like attachment issues or you're not emotionally available for a person at that time. Like, that stems from that narrative that you're creating for yourself.
Timing is everything. I had a recent date where it was like a first date, and I straight up was like, what's your idea of the future? What do you have?
Which is a heavy question.
In your story, could be anything.
Yeah.
You want kids, you want to have a marriage, like, where do you want to live? Because I want to get to try to understand where you're seeking yourself. Yeah. And if maybe my story fits into that story. I think, I don't care if it's on the first date,
fucking
man.
vibe check.
Like, I'm a very, very in-depth person, or I get deep, maybe not in-depth, both. But it's my idea of I don't really want to waste any more time if we're not on the same wavelength. Yeah. Like, I feel dumb because 2 of my past relationships ended in a pregnancy out of nowhere. I saw myself with them in my story. Then it took 3 years for me to find out another ex didn't want to have kids. And I'm sitting here wanting to have kids. Yeah. It's wild. So I'm like, well, I'm smarter now. Maybe that's too much too fast, but it's not. Yeah. You can ask me anything.
Set your own standards. Like, if set your standards, and there's gonna be somebody that meets them. Eventually, like wheat and chaff, baby.
Yeah.
Wheat and chaff.
Yeah.
We're sorting through it. One at a time, maybe, but we're sorting through it. And I think, people are so scared to set real standards for themselves. Like, and it's covered up
and
by,
boundaries.
Yeah, but it's covered up by the internet telling you, oh, it's okay. This is okay.
Yeah.
Just go through it. You're good. But nah, you gotta set your own standards. Like, it's not about what anybody else wants. It's about what you want. Like, what do you want? Like, stop bullshitting. Just, what do you want? What do you want? Like,
That's
don't stutter.
amazing.
Just, what the fuck do you want?
Yeah.
That's it. And it's the first thing. It's the first thing that pops in your head. Go fucking get that shit. You
Yeah.
want that fucking job? Okay. You say you don't have the qualifications for it? I accidentally said qualifications. Fuck.
It's play on words. Qualifications.
But just grin and bear it, huh?
Yeah.
But yeah, man, you gotta want it. Wanting it is the first step. Want it, and then you gotta execute. And it sounds, I'm oversimplifying it. I know I'm oversimplifying. There's some people that are sitting there saying, "Yeah, that's just not that easy."
Yeah.
Why isn't it that easy? You're once again, you're changing the story and making it so that there's something that's making it not be as easy as it could be. If you
Limiting beliefs.
you're putting yourself in a box. Like, motherfucking no box can hold me other than a prison cell. No box is holding me.
So we could probably not in kind of soonish, but that kind of fear. Fear is the cockblocker of all dreams. I texted you that recently.
Yeah.
And
Fear is the mind killer.
It is.
Dune.
Yeah.
Yeah, love that.
Or a stagnant mind is the devil's workshop. Whatever they fucking say.
Yeah.
But yes, I said this on literally, again, the last podcast, is what do you want? If you can't answer that, I sure as hell don't know what you want.
Yeah.
Ever. Babe, what do you want to get for dinner? Well, I don't know. Well, damn, I don't know for you. Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I'm going to cut that out. That was fucking stupid.
No, but it's right though. It's right.
Yeah,
It's 100% accurate. Like, I don't know what you want.
Please be open with me.
and
I can't read your
and
mind.
and that's the thing about communication. People are so scared to communicate their wants and their desires.
Where does that fear come from? Because I don't necessarily
because
say I have
we
that.
live in a society that what you want doesn't
Suppression?
matter. What you desire doesn't matter, and that's why there's a war on sex work right now. It's because these old men have decided, like, the only way we want to see sex work is if it's on the streets, and if you're on the streets, we're throwing your ass in jail, and the rest of you, we're blowballing you. Like, it's a means of control.
I've never thought about that narrative. That's interesting.
I'm vehemently against a lot of these bills that have been passed that under the falsehood of being against sex trafficking, when really it's limiting other people from living a life. Like, who cares? Really, why do you care so much? Why do you care so much about what I'm doing with my body? Like, dead ass. Like
For sure.
Like the shit that's been passed out in Texas. I'm like, yo, what do you niggas care about what a woman does with her own body? It's not yours, nigga.
Yeah.
It's got nothing to do with you. You have
Morals.
no, like,
the story that
it's
they
it's the
feel
same basis
about,
of slavery. Like, oh, I'm entitled to you
Yeah.
because I feel that you are inferior to me. Like, and
Who tells themselves these stories? Again, going back to, like, I have no fucking idea what's going on. I'm sure you don't either. We're
Like,
very intellectual people, but everybody's still trying to figure it out, right?
I mean, that's exactly what my tattoo is. Everything's fucked.
Everything's fucked.
Like,
Yeah.
it's an optimistic everything's fucked. Like, not like,
It's a comedic relief. Everything's fucked.
yeah, like, because there's so much going on, and there's so much so much information is being presented that there's false information embedded in it, and so it splits the rift. Like, you've got people divided into so many sub-factions over one topic, and then you switch to another topic and it multiplies even further. And I really think it's take your eye off the ball. We want you looking up here, not down here. It's what else is going on. Like, it's very much puzzle pieces. You got to piece shit together. I think it can be a lot, and that's when it comes back to depression. That's a lot. There's so much, and it's being projected at you constantly. You know, especially news outlets in America aren't built to give you news. They're just to reinforcing negative imagery all the time. And let's throw a puppy in there.
I don't think the human brain is meant to have all of this sensory overload and stimulation of different narratives coming in and trying to process it. And it's hard. We're suppressing a lot of shit, and I don't even think we realize it.
Yeah, I mean, I think like I take time to myself, and like, you know, I get super in my head, and I like to think about things. Like I've 100% heavily disassociated before in the middle of a conversation with somebody, because even though I'm having the conversation, I'm thinking about 4 different things in the back of my mind, and all of a sudden they became way more important than the conversation. And, you know, I'm like, because I'll have like an epiphany moment. Like, I'll realize, this is what links this to this. That's it. Yeah. Like, I got it. Like, realize, you know, like...
I gotta leave now. Sorry.
Yeah, I gotta go write this down. Yeah. Like, you know, like, the wall of my room looks like some shit from a Beautiful Mind with paper stapled to it, because it's just, I've had to write it down, you know, and I think we live in a very temporary, I want it now, fad-oriented society, you know, and TikTok has furthered that agenda like a motherfucker.
3-second clips. Our attention span is like this now. We're bored after 20 seconds. You know, like, thank you guys for still being here with us. Yeah. You know,
and then like what's Family Guy's a great example. They did a segment where Peter had like a 30-second show.
Like, it's a 30-second show.
Yeah. No, it was a minute long show, and that was it. And I was like, yo, like, they are really hitting the fucking mark. I mean, it kind of started with my generation with with Vine and everything like that. Like, but and like we're so quick to hate on TikTok, but we did this shit. It's kind of our fault. Some good stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, like
temporary satisfaction doesn't lead to the visionary lifestyle.
But it does keep you in a sufficient loop to keep you running back to that temporary satisfaction to keep you from achieving your real goal.
AKA procrastination. AKA now I've watched. You realize it's been like a year and a half of a pandemic. Have you done anything?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Not you in general, just for the general public. Like, what have you done? Have you just been looping?
Right.
Have you grown yourself?
And you don't think about this until this shit's vocalized.
Yeah.
Like, and then it's like, like, no, I haven't been doing anything. Like, you know, like for me, like halfway through it, I was like, yo, you know, I'm not going to just sit here on my ass. You know, and like him, like, and you saw it happen across the U.S. at the same time. It happened to everybody because everybody's baking fucking banana bread. And I literally saw.
Or trying the TikTok dances.
Yes, and I'm like, yeah, it's. I'm not doing anything. Like I saw. It was
totally, dude.
To me, it was a phenomenon. I was like, yo. We're all collectively losing our fucking minds right now. Like, I don't know what's happening. We're all, like, I went to the store. I cook a lot. I started my own catering company. Like, I wanted to get some fucking flour because I wanted to make some noodles.
Yeah.
I couldn't get any fucking flour because all you motherfuckers was making banana bread.
And wiping your ass with your hundreds of toilet paper.
You have to take like 16 shits a day to go through all the toilet paper. I saw niggas' mind. If you're taking 16 shits a day, I beg you, please go see a doctor. Please go see a doctor.
Stop eating fucking.
I don't know what you're eating. I don't know what your diet is. Maybe stop drinking tap water. That's also a thing too. Like, just please stop taking so many shits in a day. I take 3. 3 is good. It's morning, afternoon, and night. You're good.
Sometimes that's too much too. I don't know. He's healthy. He's got a lot of fiber going through him.
Yeah. I don't wake up until like noon, 1 o'clock, but then I'm up until 8 o'clock the next morning. Yeah. So my eating schedule is completely different. Like,
is that your circadian rhythm?
Yeah.
Through the night.
Yeah, man. Like I don't really get started. Like, this is the earliest I've ever been started. Like, in like a month. Because like
it's 1:30 p.m. I got him out of bed to talk to you guys.
You know, because like I don't have to water my garden until, you know, I water in the morning. I'm up in the morning before the sun comes up, so I water my garden in the morning.
Yeah, perfect timing.
So what else? Like, to have
That's
to
pretty
do.
cool. I did that for like a month, and then I realized like, oh shit.
And like, you know, I hang out with a lot of musicians and people like that too. Like, we all like past midnight, boom, that's it. Like
Creative.
some of the best sessions I've ever gone to between midnight and 5 a.m.
Yeah, I believe that.
Like, and it's like a whole bunch of night owls. Like, I fuss with it though. It's cool. Like, I don't be sleeping anyway, so.
So yeah, you guys get up off your ass if you realize you haven't been doing anything. Eat your vegetables. Drink clean water.
Yep.
Believe in yourself. Kadar, you got anything on fear or?
Man, don't let fear stop you from doing that next thing. You know, you're afraid to take the step. You're afraid. It causes self-doubt. But once again, storytelling, it changes the narrative that you're creating, you're building for yourself. Man, write your story with a pen made of gold, baby.
There you go.
Like this shit's all you. It's like that's it. Like, of course, you have people along the way that help you and will lift you up and give rise to certain events in your life. But every choice you make is just you. Just don't regret it. Make sure you don't regret it. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Absolutely.
make sure, and love yourself too, man. Love yourself. There's too much hate in the world for you not to love yourself. Like, way too much hate.
Speak your truth.
Yeah.
Live the life by design. And a big thing that's helped me create everything is literally writing it down. And if I can give any bit of advice, it's like take out a piece of paper with.
I used to not believe that shit, but it's very real.
That's another way of putting it out into the universe. And then if you remind yourself for a month, you know, I've got these dry erase boards and got my journals and everything, and this is what I'm going to do that next. It's almost like I'm guiding myself to what I need to be doing to create X. Like, so try to write down, goes back to what do you want?
Yep.
Create the new story. Build the continued story. Jump back into an old chapter. Maybe not. Create the new chapter through the old chapter.
It's fun to go back in your mind and reread the old chapters. I cackle at some shit from my past. Like, that shit cracks me up.
That's what reading does to me, man. I'm just like sitting in with headphones. I'm either jamming or I'm like, huh, I was here back in 2013.
Right? I'll be like, oh, I remember that.
All right, guys. Again, appreciate you turning back in to open everything. Kadar, appreciate you, brother.
No problem, man.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah. All love.
All love.